Welcome to this brisk 8-minute explainer. Today, we're diving straight into the essentials of the power of now. Basically, we're going to take Eckhart Tolle's truly profound spiritual teachings and distill them into a highly structured, totally actionable guide for everyday peace. So if you're looking for a direct, clear path to just quiet all that noise in your head, you are absolutely in the right place. To really get this, we have to start right where Tolle's own journey began. Picture this. He's 29 years old, and he hits a dramatic breaking point. Up until then, he'd basically lived in a state of almost constant anxiety and even intense suicidal depression. But one night, the dread just got so overwhelming that he literally asked himself, am I one or two? Because if I cannot live with myself, there must be two of me, the I and the self that I cannot live with. That single, kind of terrifying realization caused his mind to just completely stop. It triggered an instant, profound spiritual awakening that we're going to unpack for you today. Drawing directly from this global phenomenon, the power of now, the whole goal of this explainer is to solve a universal human problem that I think we all struggle with, which is overthinking. We're going to map out exactly how to break our absolute addiction to our own compulsively chattering minds. Section 1. You are not your mind. So to actually break this addiction to thinking, we need to completely reframe how we see ourselves. We have to realize that the relentless voice in our head is really just a tool, but it's a tool that has unfortunately completely taken over its master. On one side of this core conflict, we have the mind. We mistakenly derive our whole identity from this mind, which Tolle explains is actually just a survival machine. Like, it's incredibly useful for solving practical problems, sure, but it is entirely bound by time and fear. It's constantly projecting into the future or agonizing over the past. Now, on the other side is being. This is your true self. It's timeless, deeply peaceful, and naturally connected to all life. Basically, the core issue of humanity is that we mistakenly think we're the survival machine, completely forgetting our peaceful underlying essence. Tolle brilliantly illustrates this with a really powerful metaphor. Imagine a beggar who's been sitting on this old box by the side of the road for 30 years, just asking for spare change. One day, a stranger walks by and asks him, "Hey, what's inside that box you're sitting on?" The beggar finally pries it open, only to find it is completely filled with gold. And the point is, we are that beggar. We're constantly looking externally for happiness, for validation, just scraps of pleasure, completely oblivious to the immense wealth and radiant joy of being that's already sitting right inside of us. Section 2. The illusion of time. Okay, so how exactly does the mind keep us from opening that box of gold? Well, it traps us by creating the ultimate illusion, which is psychological time. You can actually diagnose your own level of what Tolle calls the pain body and ordinary unconsciousness by just looking out for a few key symptoms. Things like constant complaining, a sort of background static of unease, holding on to resentment toward the present moment, or obsessively waiting for the future to finally save you. All of these symptoms are really just different forms of resisting the present moment. They're basically telltale signs that you are completely identified with your mind. To escape this, we have to differentiate between two completely different types of time. First, there's clock time, which is absolutely necessary for practical living, right? It includes learning from the past, setting goals, predicting patterns so we can actually get things done. But then there's psychological time, and this is essentially a mental disease. This happens when you derive your actual identity from your past history or when you're seeking your ultimate salvation in the future. Psychological time just drains your life's vibrancy because it treats the present moment as nothing more than an annoying stepping stone to some imagined future that honestly never really arrives. I want you to consider this really powerful question. It originally comes from the Zen master Rinzai. What, at this moment, is lacking? Just notice what happens to your mind when you ask that. If you pull all your attention into this exact second, not tomorrow's bills, not yesterday's arguments, you realize that suffering literally needs time to exist. Suffering simply cannot survive in the pure present. Section 3. Watching the thinker. So, how do we actually detach from all this involuntary mental noise? Well, our primary defense is something called watching the thinker. This is the act of listening to the voice in your head totally impartially, without judging or condemning the thoughts you're observing. By simply witnessing your thoughts like a third-party observer, you stop feeding them. You withdraw your energy from the mind entirely, and you start to create these incredibly peaceful gaps of what Tolle calls no mind. Because when you don't watch the thinker, your negative thoughts and emotions just feed off each other to create this really toxic loop called the pain body. A thought creates an emotion, and then that emotion feeds energy right back into the thought. But here's exactly how to break it. First,
Acknowledge the emotional pain in your body. Just accept that it's there. Second, don't let the feeling turn into thinking. Do not mentally spin a dramatic story around it. Third, don't judge or analyze the emotion. And finally, just stay present as the silent watcher. Observing your emotions objectively acts like a powerful beam of light that literally just dissolves this old trapped pain.
Section 4. Portals to the Now.
Now, stopping the mind definitely takes practice. So let's look at a few highly practical gateways you can use anytime, anywhere, to basically escape the mind and instantly enter the timeless present. In fact, let's just walk through these 3 steps together right now. Step 1, focus deeply on your breathing. Just feel the air flowing in and out of your body right this second. Step 2, feel the animating life in your inner body. Like, can you sense the aliveness in your hands or your chest right now, even without moving them? And step 3, listen closely to the silence beneath sounds. Try paying more attention to the quiet background than the actual noise itself. These are your instant, everyday escape hatches from overthinking.
That second step, focusing on the inner body, is particularly powerful. It's the invisible, animating presence within you. It acts as the bridge between your outer physical shell and the formless source of life. And inhabiting your inner body doesn't just anchor you deeply in the now and shut off the mental noise. Tolle actually notes it literally slows down the aging process of the physical body and connects you to a much more profound spiritual reality.
Section 5, the art of surrender. This right here is the ultimate technique for dealing with an unhappy or challenging life situation, and it requires some radical personal responsibility. If you find your current here and now absolutely intolerable, you really only have 3 sane choices. You can remove yourself from the situation, you can change the situation by taking practical action, or you can accept the situation totally. That's it. Anything else, any lingering resentment or complaining, is just toxic mental resistance. And we really need to redefine this word, by the way. Surrender is not some fatalistic weakness or just giving up. It is the inner acceptance of what is, without any reservations whatsoever. It means yielding to the natural flow of life rather than violently fighting it. This is a profound spiritual strength that completely cuts off the mind's resistance and allows incredibly clear, intuitive action to just naturally arise. To bring this all together, remember this. Only through accessing the power of the now can there be true forgiveness. This renders the past powerless. True peace and true forgiveness come instantly when we finally stop deriving our sense of self from the past. The moment you surrender to the present, the past simply dissolves, and you are left with the radiant joy of being. So, ask yourself, what past resentment or future anxiety can you surrender right now, in this very second, to finally open your own box of gold? If you enjoyed this, subscribe to In 8 Minutes and never miss what matters.